Before we'll talk about the Drupal entity storage, let's talk about real-time notification. If you look like 10 or 15 years ago, you probably need to know C or maybe C or C++ to make a backend or to write a protocol so your client could, so your client could interact with your chat or anything else. But today we have this NodeJS that, okay, a lot of people are joining in. So today we have Node.js to do real-time notifications or real-time chat. Well, a lot of people are coming in. And Node.js have this stuff that they are storing all their objects in JSON objects, or maybe if we want to use like a lot of JSON storage like CouchDB, PouchDB, Redis, Cassandra, Titan, Orango, and the most famous one is MongoDB. But all of the servers have some problems. Sorry. Very nervous. And they're not mainly problems that relate to NoSQL database, but also to other databases. So first of all, a lot of the databases that we are using don't have UI out of the box. You probably need to use, like if we took MySQL as a lot of our database for Drupal, we need to install maybe Workbench or phpMyAdmin or stuff like that. And go for the other databases. MongoDB have, sorry, I'm kind of nervous. But we can overcome over this and found our own tools. We also have joins. NoSQL database don't have joins, so in the case of Drupal, when we have fields for our entities, we can just use fields because we don't have joins in MongoDB and other databases. Another problem is clustering. Most of our databases don't give you the option to do clustering very easily. You need to do some magic or black voodoo to get this clustering and spread all the overload on the database to another databases. And, sorry. And they don't have real-time orientation. You probably need to use some, I don't know, like WebSocket or Socket.io or Firebase. Like that? Like that? Oh, okay. Sorry. You want to start again? Okay. So we need to use, as I said, like WebSocket or Firebase or Pusher to have our real-time notification to the client. So with all of these problems, I found a tool like something like a year ago that may not solve all our problems, but make our life much more easy. So as you can see there, I have this nice thinker person, and it's called RethinkDB. All of these stuff that I'm going to show are yet need to be tested, and there are a lot of investigation that's going on there, and all of you are going to see the proof of concept. But we can do cool stuff with what you're going to see. So RethinkDB is a NoSQL database with real-time orientation, UI out of the box, join stable, and clustering very, very easily. So let's say we install our database and it's running? Yeah, so and we want to set up the running the database. So everything you need to do is that you got your database running on the background. Can you see what's going on there? And so you got this very strange output, and you're asking yourself what's going on here. So the first thing is our intercluster port. That all you have to do clustering is to set up another database and just tell them this is your port, and RethinkDB will acknowledge and just do for you all the database clustering, like shredding the items or sorry, I don't know. The other port is the client port, where you could connect your application to your database, as we already know. And so now we're going to turn you into RethinkDB rockstars. So this is our RethinkDB 101, and after this session, you're going to know basically a lot of stuff in RethinkDB. So as I mentioned before, this is the UI that RethinkDB gives you, and you can see that there is a graph that's going on and shows you how the reads and write to the database on real time. And it's very cool, I think. For example, and if we're going to ask 1,000 items in a second, you can see that the graph is just showing us how many items was taken for the database. Sorry. So it's kind of small, but basically what you can see here is a language called Royquil that for now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create an items, for example. You can see that in the Royquil language you can get autocomplete for the function that you're now writing for RethinkDB. And in that case, I'm inserting a JSON into the database of the names of the people in IronCamp. And that's it. What we got from here is some information. What are the IDs of the documents that were inserted or replaced or deleted or so on. If you're going to take all the names, all you have to do is just put in the database name, tell him, okay, I want the names table. And voila, we got all the names. In case we want to filter them by name, all we have to do is just tell them, just sort them by names, and we've got the names. So that was very nice. So in this case, we're going to tell to RethinkDB, listen to any changes that's going on the names tables. And once I'm going to insert a person name, JSON object. And in this case, I put it Dries as the person I want to be in Drupal IronCamp. And voila, we've got results from the changes before we got any results from the table itself. And we are not, so what you see now, you probably think, okay, we're listening to changes in a table, but no, we are listening to changes in the query. So in that case, I'm going to tell RethinkDB, listen to any changes that the company is from Gizra, which is the company I'm in. So now we're going to put Jonathan from Commerce Guys into the database. Yeah, just 1 second. And once we're going to insert, nothing happened on the left side, on the right side, sorry. But if I'm going to change this to near and type in Gizra, you're going to see that we've got inputs from the right side and on the left side. So who am I, except for being very nervous? I'm Roy Segall. This is also my Twitter name and any other site I'm in. I'm a senior developer at Gizra. Who don't know what we do, we are contributing a lot to Drupal, like organic groups and REST for Drupal 7 and the message stack. And we're also working with Harvard on their open source distribution, which is a distribution for academic sites. So if, for example, you have Harvard University and you want to have sites for each professor or faculty, you can use that site and get like mini sites, but not on different databases as a multi-site. We're working with the European Commission and the United Nations. So after we talked about real-time notification from RethinkDB, let's talk about Drupal 8 part. So entity storage is not something new in Drupal, but it was kind of, we could use Drupal 7 to store fields in another stuff, but this time they decided to use all the entity as a storage. So for example, we can store our entities in RethinkDB, which all you have to do, so for example, all you have to do is just creating an entity and just telling that the storage is handled by the RethinkDB storage class. And that's it from now on. So if you want to, for example, use to create an entity, all you have to create is just a title and a body for a message, and that's it. You can have also like query on it and load multiple and iterate over that, and it's some kind of like what Schneisel was talking about in microservices. So this is kind of a microservice. So let's have another example when I'm creating a message. So Drupal knows this is an entity and interact with it as we can see, but it's not stored on MySQL, but on RethinkDB. So with this knowledge that we accomplish in this session, we're going to set up a startup. And all of you are signed on an NDA contract, so you can't create the startup as well, so don't take my idea. The idea is called interesting, which you can find something cool around you. And as any startup that was born from a use case, I was waiting for a friend in a bar, and I said to myself, okay, so while I'm going to wait for 20 minutes, half hour, let's find another person that wants to go to a bar and let's have a drink together. And except for real-time notification, RethinkDB have some geolocation stuff. So you can tell them, okay, this is my current geolocation. Give me all the information in the 1 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 5 miles around me, and you'll bring it up for you. So it's kind of a Tinder for any use case, not just meeting ladies, but also to maybe, I don't know, contribute to Drupal together. That's also an idea. So in this case, you can see that this is a Drupal admin, that I'm creating a room that only the people that is 1 kilometer away could access it. And I'm giving it the address for Gizra offices in Tel Aviv. I got this cool geolocation, and that's it. Drupal acknowledges as any entity that you could want to use, maybe nodes or comments, but in this case, is rooms. What we can do also is managing all the people inside a room, see their messages, and now that we have our backend, let's do our cool frontend. And the thing is that Drupal is not built for real time. Let's face it. And if you want to do it, let's do it with Electron. Anyone heard about Electron over here? Okay, that's cool. So it's like what Ionic is doing for phones to create a web application as a native application. This will create your web application as a native for your OS 6, Windows, or Linux. And we can see that we have 2 instances. In this case, is 2 kilometers away, so this is kind of a bug. But you can see that we have one chat person and another chat person, and we can see in real time there is a chat that's going on between them. So it's a hi there, and he says hi, and he's going to ask him if he wants to watch Seinfeld together. I think it's kind of cool, and once you're going to society, so it's like it's a chat, so you can get the idea. But how it's made is very cool. Electron gives us the options to create Node.js and jQuery application together. So in that case, I'm going to say any changes in a room ID, just take it and append it to a div class on the DOM objects. And you're probably thinking right now, okay, that's very cool. I want to store my comments. I want to store my nodes. I want to basically hijack in the entities in Drupal. So let me tell you, it's a very difficult task to operate. In case of a node, we need to know who is the user, and we need to have the node access. And in case of comments, we need to know which node and which user. it's a very messy thing to do, and what we're going to do, we're going to replicate entities in Drupal. Have anyone tried to create activity stream in Drupal? So I guess not. So in that case, we have for this task is the message stack. So in this case, we can define the messages with a template. And if we created a comment, we have like a user commented on the title of a node, or a user created a node. And what Drupal is going to do is going to say, okay, I have a new node, I'm going to create a message and reference it to the node. What we're going to do from RethinkDB side is we're going to replicate it. We're going to say is, okay, any message, we're going to, any message entity, we're going to flatten it into a JSON object and just push it into RethinkDB. From the NodeJS part, we're just going to push it into RethinkDB, and from the push side on Drupal, we're going to append to some nice div on the body. Is anyone following until now? Or it's too fast, too slow? Questions? Okay, so yeah, so in the case of replicating entities, we need to create this kind of duplicate. But let's see what's going on the real time. Take notice that the Drupal side is going to be a much more faster, so take notes on the left side of the activity stream. So now, when I create the node, I've got activity stream before the Drupal was rendered. And if we're creating a comment, you can see that before Drupal was finishing rendering, we've got the notification system going on. So, do you think that this is going to be a very cool tool to maybe caching some Drupal sites? Because it's probably a NoSQL database, so it's going to be very, very fast, right? So I was kind of thinking the same thing. Can we use RethinkDB as a caching mechanism? And you're going to see the results that might be surprising you. So we have these items from 1 to 60,000 items. And we can see that for 1 item, MySQL is kind of fast. So and so on for 10 items, and 100 items, 400 items. Can somebody guess how many 500 times items is going to take? And we can throw a number. It's going to take 0.02 seconds. So on and so on. Somebody can guess how much 10,000 items is going to take from MySQL? Any numbers? Okay, 2.4. Another number, maybe? It's going to take 4.6 seconds. Anyone can guess how many 60,000 items are going to be taken? How many times is going to MySQL? No, don't. Okay. How much? Okay, so it's going to take 26 seconds to pull 60,000 items. That the only information inside it is just the current timestamp that the item was in. Let's imagine like a page rendering or a block rendering. It's going to take a lot more time. So anyone can guess how much going to RethinkDB to get us a single item? It's going to take 0.00099 seconds, which is half time slower than MySQL. Go for 110 items, that is kind of slow. In 100 items, it's kind of starting to take the time to get like MySQL, but in this case, you can start to see that from 400 items, RethinkDB is going to be much more faster, which is 1.75 items faster. Can anyone guess how many going to take for 500 items? It's going to take 0.01346 seconds, which is 1.59 times faster. Anyone can guess? So let's see, for 10,000 items, how is it going to take? Anyone can have a guess? I'm not going to kill you, but it's going to take 0.2 seconds. 5,000 items, can you give a guess? Okay, it's going to take 0.3 seconds, which is almost 3 times faster. Anyone can guess how many times does 10,000 items going to take? Okay, it's going to take 0.7 seconds. And for the very, very amazing numbers, can you guess for 60,000 items? Okay, very close. More guesses? It's going to take only 6 seconds, which is a bit slow, but if we consider it as against MySQL, it's much more faster. So this is only for one RethinkDB cluster items. We didn't talk about clustering, which is supposed to be much more faster and much more cool. So the thing is that it's not just how much RethinkDB is going to give us all the information, but it's going to say, okay, how many times that RethinkDB is going to initialize the current request. So this is also a thing that needs to be considered when you taking care like which tool I'm going to use. So what are the use cases that we can have for this database? So as Schnitzel was saying before, we can have it for IoT. Let's say that we have Arduino in the house for every room and for every action and for the refrigerator and for our mailbox, and we can say that every time that something happens, we can set from our Arduino to RethinkDB, and this like we create this like notification system that our mailman puts a letter in the box, or maybe somebody starting to heat up the boiler to get much more hot water, and then you can say, no, the boiler is broken, you can't do it. We have in Israel a local company that I don't think they are using it, that tool, but it's called Wizburger. And what they're going to do is if you are running a bar and you can get information for real time. So what's the temperature in your beer taps? Maybe the cage of the beer, like when you store the beer, are getting warm, or maybe your refrigerator is consume a lot of power, or if you have another bars around you, you can get what the other bars are doing right now, and you can, I don't know, like you can do on Sunday a happy hour from 9 to 10 for anyone that order a Carlsberg. That's one option. And we can also use it for commerce. So if you looked on our Electron, Electron application, we can set up real-time auctions for product in Drupal. Like we can copy the product, for example, for like this box we can convert it to RethinkDB and starting to do auctions. And once the auction is done, we can paste the information into Drupal and manage all the information. Or if, for example, we have a site that gives some like news, we can push the news to the user to his native application desktop. That's one use case. So from now on, we can maybe use Drupal as a site administration panel for a lot of other backends that our customer want. So this is where I can see the future if we're talking about Schnitzel, but does anyone have any questions for what you have seen right now? It's out of the process, but questions? Don't be shy, yes? Again? So you're asking if for now we have any integration between RethinkDB? So you have the module, the RethinkDB modules that connect Drupal for your sites. It's a contrib module you can download and use it. So yes, but you need to do some work with that. It's not a lot of tough work, but it could be manageable, and you can store your documents on RethinkDB. And maybe if we want to make like an organization at GitHub, we can have entity storage organization, which we can have entity storage for other NoSQL databases. More questions? Okay, again.
Because you said that other alternatives for RethinkDB has some problems, especially does RethinkDB has any problems or is a sort of perfect solution?
RethinkDB, I don't think he have any problems. As I mentioned before, any product is focusing on one solution. For RethinkDB is focusing on real time, and Cassandra is focusing on other stuff, and GraphQL databases are focusing on displaying your information in graph services, in graph information. So you need to see what kind of use you want to do for your application, and then choose the right tool to do it. Anything else? Okay, if not, then I can say thank you very much and have fun in Drupal IronCamp.